Okay, we got a lower body day today. Right now we're on to our plyometric block of the session, so we're doing drop jumps, and we've already done our little warm up. There's just some nice light pogo, forward, backward, sideways jumps, pogo jumps, just to get the ankle nice and warmed up, body nice and warmed up, ready for the higher intense kind of plyometric work. So we're doing drop jumps today. For the first one, it's like the medium intense plyometric I do. So I do one light, medium, high intense. Today we're doing the pogo jumps for the light. Medium intense is going to be drop jumps, and then we're going to do depth jumps as the high intense plyometric. Yeah, so for these, we're trying to be nice and quick off the floor. So I don't really care about how high we're jumping with these. All we want is to be nice and quick off the floor, be nice and elasticy. Yeah, so this is what I'll show you what we're doing. Just will be nice and quick. Don't really care about how high we actually jump with these. Because I'm not a very elasticy kind of athlete, I'm more of a force-based kind of athlete. These kind of exercises are good because we're trying to be nice and quick and as quick as we can off the floor, and that's something I'm really bad at, so it's good to work on it in training. The next exercise is going to be the depth jump, which is an exercise where it's a more force-based kind of exercise because you have a lot more time on the ground. Because obviously you can land, and we're not worried about how quick to be off the floor, we're more worried about jump height. We want to jump as high as we can. So you're going to spend longer on the ground, which means it's more of a force-based kind of exercise. When you're trying to be nice and quick off the floor, it's more of a like elasticy kind of quick exercise. So it's good to do a bit of both in your training. Like one exercise more, trying to be nice and quick, sharp. It kind of works more on the nervous system rather than the muscle. It does work the muscles and tendons, but works a little bit more on the nervous system. To make it more firing, more quick. And then we've got the depth jumps, which are more force-based. So if you're quite strong, if you've got strong maximal strength, like you can deadlift heavy, squat pretty heavy, then you're probably going to be good at the depth jump. Not all the time, but you're going to have a lot of force. You're going to be able to be quite powerful and be good at the depth jump. So that's why I like to have both of these in my training. We've already done, that was our third set. So now we're going to go into depth jumps, and we're just going to do 3 sets of that for 3 reps. These are quite high intense. So yeah, we'll just get right into them. We're going to we might go a little bit higher because last week we did it with this box, 20-inch. So we might go a little bit higher just to make it, because for depth jumps, it's good to have a quite high box so you can land. You have to deal with that landing, you have to be able to absorb that force, and then you're going to try and spiral that back up into the height. So yeah, we'll go for about 26 inches. That's like an extra 6 inches. So we're going to drop, we're going to take our time on the floor, not take our time, we're going to try nice, and we're going to try to jump as high as we can. I mean, you can instantly see I can instantly feel the difference, and you probably see the difference. Like with this one, obviously I'm going lower with my legs. I'm coming more into a deep squat kind of position, not as deep, but still a lower kind of position. And with the drop jumps, my legs are a little bit more straight, and because I'm trying to be nice and quick. And with this one, I'm just trying to jump as high as we can. So we're trying to get ready to produce all that force. So we're going to go lower into the squat and then come up. I'm still not good at either of these. That's why I'm trying to work on them now in my program. We're also going to talk about why I like to do I do 2 leg days a week, and why one day I like to have more bilateral focused, especially with the main lifts, and why one day I like to have more single leg focused, especially with the main lifts. So I'll explain why I like to do it that way rather than having 2 bilateral days. I prefer to have 1 bilateral, 1 single leg, and I'll explain why I prefer that for my leg days and why I think it's good for most people to do something like that. Yeah, so we've got 2 more sets of these, and then we are going to go on to our jump session of the day. When doing jumps, I normally like to have something to jump over or something to like make me have to jump higher, but with these kind of exercises, drop jumps and the depth jump, sometimes it gets a little bit in the way. It'd be good if you could jump and try and touch something, but sometimes when you're trying to jump over something, I don't get as good a stimulus, I think, with these ones specifically. But with every other jump session, I normally like to have something to jump over, but especially when you're trying to be nice and quick off the floor, sometimes it's better to just do it yourself and try to be nice and quick. And even with the depth jumps, I feel if there's a hurdle in front of me, it kind of gets in the way a little bit for this particular variation. I prefer to just do it without having anything in the way. But for most jump sessions, I like to have something to have to jump over to drive that intent. Okay, we're on to our jump session now. So what we're doing today is a broad jump to vertical jump. So we're trying to translate horizontal force into vertical force. So that's the reason we're doing this exercise. Because if you look at when you're jumping up for a header in football, or if you're doing dunking a basketball, or if you're trying to run and jump into something, a lot of the time what you're trying to do is translate horizontal force into vertical force, and that's what we're trying to do with this exercise. Obviously, it's not the same, so we're not running, we are just jumping into it, but the premise is the same, and that's what we're trying to achieve with this exercise. So we want to be able to jump far and be able to be nice and quick after that jump to get vertical over the hurdle. So we want to be able to translate horizontal force into vertical force nice and quick. That's what we're trying to do with this exercise. So we're on to, this is our fourth set. So we're just a nice high jump, kind of high. I don't have my hurdle today, so we just kind of made up a random hurdle. Step, a weight, and a box, and that's all you need. You don't need these fancy equipment. Just find something in the gym you can jump over, and then just get some reps and get it done. So we're gonna do another set of this. When I'm doing my jump sessions, I do count my reps. I'm not really one to set a certain amount of reps. I will in the program, but if I feel like I'm doing really well or I'm enjoying it, I'll probably do more reps than normal. If it's kind of going shit, I will probably do less reps, because that's for jump sessions. I'm kind of just going off feel. If I feel like I'm doing well, I'm going to continue doing it. If it's really not going well, then I probably will stop earlier and just move on to my weight session. But this feels good, so we're going to keep going a little bit more. It feels like a challenge, but like a doable challenge, and that's kind of what I want with a jump session. You want it to be pretty challenging, but like where it's not too easy, but you also don't want it to be too hard where you get a bit frustrated, lose a little bit of motivation, and then don't want to do it. So this is like a good height for what I'm doing with this exercise. We're going to do one more set, go a little bit higher, add another little weight to it, and then we're going to move on to our strength work. It's zercher reverse lunges today. Absolute brutal exercise, but great for strengthening the legs. One of my favorites, single leg exercises. Really enjoy doing zercher variations. They're obviously pretty difficult, hard to get started in, but once you start doing them and you get used to having the bar on your elbows, it feels great, and it's a great exercise to do. Okay, that wasn't good, but we can definitely make that. We were close. We can get this. I'm going to take that, happy with that. We're going to move on. We're going to do our zercher reverse lunges into strength work. Okay, zercher reverse lunges. We're on 100 kilo. We've already done one set. Only managed 3 reps each leg. The aim is to get 5, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. To be fair, it doesn't feel too bad, just it's more the left leg. It's a bit more struggling than the right. Right feels completely fine. Just had this nagging groin injury for a while, and it's kind of hurting a little bit when doing these, but normally we just work through it and it's been fine. I've had this for like the last 6-7 months, and we've managed to train as normal, so just feel a little bit today, but we're fine. We've got one more set of this. We're going to go for 5 reps for the last set, and then we're going to move on to our accessory work. So yeah, I just want to talk about why I like to do one bilateral leg day, one single leg day. It's mainly because I used to get a lot of lower back pain. Obviously when you're doing heavy bilateral work, especially when the bar's on your back, or like I used to do like one day's heavy squats, one day heavy deadlift, and obviously that's two very highly compressive days, which puts a lot of pressure on the back. So ever since switching out and doing one heavy bilateral day, that's where I do either my heavy back squats or my heavy deadlifts or my heavy RDLs. And then the other day it's more focused on like single leg zercher kind of variations where the weight's out in front of you, so it's obviously not putting as much pressure on the back. Having it out in front seems to, obviously you're not putting as much pressure on the back as I said, so it makes it a little bit less stress on it. And I've noticed my back pain is way better. I don't get anywhere near as much back pain. But that's also like, I mean, back pain is a very complicated subject. It's not just because of that. And obviously I do a lot more ab work as well, more spinal kind of movement stuff, strengthening that. So that's obviously helped my back pain too. But I think doing it this way also, especially when I did deadlifts, I used to get a lot of pain. I think it's because like I'm quite tall, so getting into that position is quite difficult. But yeah, ever since switching it out and doing one day more bilateral, more highly compressive kind of day, one day more single leg, zercher kind of variations, seems to have helped a lot. Don't get anywhere near as much back pain. So that's like the main reason I do it. And also just, it's good to do heavy lifting on double leg and single leg. You know, you got different kind of adaptations, different kind of qualities out of doing each one. I think especially with single leg ones, you work a little bit more of the groin and a little bit more of the groin compared to like double leg. You just get a little bit more benefits as well from doing single leg rather than just double leg all the time. So that's why I think it's good to do a bit of both in your training, not just for the back pain, but also for the adaptations and all the qualities you get from doing both. If I did them on the same day, like I wouldn't be able to go as heavy on my single leg as I did today because my legs would be fatigued from the heavy squats. So because right now we're doing Monday heavy squats, Wednesday heavy single leg exercise, normally reverse lunge at the moment. It was Bulgarian split squats, but now it's reverse lunge. And it's been working well. My legs feel really, really strong, quite powerful. So yeah, it seems to work quite well. So we're going to do one more set, aiming for 5 reps. Oh, Jesus. Got it, that was difficult. But we managed to get, I'm not sure the reps were that amazing for some of them. Trying to get nice and low into the knee, just about touching the floor. Not sure I managed that with every single one, but that was good. We're going to move on to our accessory work now. And then yeah, that'll be us. I think this is only accessory exercise we're going to be able to show. So we're going to do Copenhagen's. We haven't really progressed on them much because it's kind of difficult to progress on them. So I'm going to try in a higher box. See if this makes it a little bit more difficult and just, makes progression of it, because a lot of the time you're just doing the same thing over and over again. And Copenhagen's are great. I do feel it in my groin, but sometimes you also want to progress and we'll do something different, like try make it harder. So we'll see if this does anything. Just want to get nice and lower into it. Oh, this is a little bit harder actually. It's quite a good one. Just getting nice and higher. Oh. Yeah, so that's our accessories. We're going to do Copenhagen's. We've got seated hamstring curl, and we're going to do leg extensions, single leg extensions. But we're going to go through the other part of the gym. It's busy in there, so we won't be able to film. But so we're going to do 2 sets of each one, just in like a circuit kind of style. Maybe do 3 sets, see how we feel, but normally just do 2 sets of accessory work. So yeah, it was a good session overall. Had a good plyometric work, working on being nice and quick off the floor with the drop jumps, and then working on trying to jump as high as we can with the depth jumps. Really like that variation with the horizontal and the broad jumps into vertical jumps. I think they're it's a good way to work on transitioning from horizontal force into vertical force. Quite enjoyed doing them, and obviously making it a challenge by increasing the hurdle for the vertical jump just makes it a little bit more difficult. And yeah, I'm talking about, obviously reverse lunge was a good exercise, one of my favourite single leg ones. It's obviously difficult with the zercher variation. A lot of people don't like doing them, but honestly, the more you do them, the easier it's going to feel on your arms as well. Like, it's just like having a bar on your back. Like, obviously it's uncomfortable to start with, but the more you do it, the easier it's going to get, and you feel strong as hell when you're holding weight in your absolute elbows as well. And it's not just working your legs, like you're holding this weight, you're also getting a little bit of core work, working on your traps. Like, a lot of time my back feels, as not a bad way, but you feel the muscles working, which is quite cool, a little bit side effect of doing zerchers. Yeah, and then we also did the accessory work just to work on the little muscles that normally get injured, especially the groins. I do have a bad groin at the moment, but imagine just work around it and just keep working on it. It seems to be fine. Like, imagine still run, sprint, and do heavy lifting and do everything as normal. So that's the thing with injuries. Sometimes you can just work around them and, you know, keep strengthening the muscle that's a little bit sore. Yeah, overall good session, and hope you learned something new today, and thanks for watching. See you next time.